More from Queensryche on the way now from Paris at this special edition of Headbangers Ball dedicated to the band. It's great to have them back in Europe. And as you can see, Michael is still with me, but Eddie has joined us now as well. And we'll be hearing a little bit of his thoughts on the new record, Promised Land. And just kind of generally covering the overall theme of the album. We have kind of talked about the theme, but do you see it as kind of an autobiographical record of kind of almost like your whole lives, because there's things that could come from childhood and right up to kind of adult life? Do you see it as kind of covering a very wide period?
Well, for me, it's more of a subconscious exorcism.
Right.
It's dealing with past negative luggage that we've all dealt with, and the song Damage deals with driving a nail into the head,
Right.
which for me is the letting go of all the subconscious memories and letting them flow, and dealing with them and sorting them out, and just getting rid of all the negative baggage that we've been dealing with.
Right. So when you've actually gone through that and you've cleared all that away, it leaves the future like straightforward, and you can carry on without having to deal with that.
Yeah, it's also like dealing with success, and the pros and cons, through the years. At whatever you do, if you're successful, you look back and you look at all the things that, that you've experienced, and, basically, that's that.
You really learn to deal with life on a different plane of existence,
Yes.
because you see what is possible, and it's easier to attain, whereas you kind of trash all the negative elements, all the fear, and I can't do this, and that just becomes trash, and then basically you're back to a point where anything's possible if you stick your mind to it.
So I would say overall that the album has the theme of kind of finding spiritual and emotional happiness from within.
That is correct. You hit it right on the right on the
head.
nail, right on the head.
But you do have to go through a lot of traumas and lots of different experiences to really come to that conclusion anyway yourself, don't you?
Well, unfortunately, yes, but you learn to deal with problems and errors that basically they unfold the truth, and you just learn to deal with it that way. It's just positive thinking.
Absolutely. So, Eddie, can we learn from the Queensryche album Promised Land? Can we learn from the experiences that you went through and by reading the lyrics?
Yes, with a capital Y.
Positive mental attitude there as well, very positive. So on that note, we are actually going to take just a few steps back from the Queensryche tour just for a few minutes, because yesterday the Wild Hearts had an album launch party in Birmingham in association with Raw magazine, and right now we're going to take a look at the festivities surrounding that party, give you a preview of some of their new material from their upcoming new album. You'll find out all about it in this report, and then after that we are going to be talking to Queensryche's tour manager Howard, and he's going to be telling us a little bit about the production and staging used by Queensryche on this European tour. So more from Queensryche to come, but right now we're crossing over to Birmingham and the Wild Hearts album launch party to find out all about their new record. Well, that was a little bit of mayhem down at the Wild Hearts album launch party in Birmingham last night, but right now we are back on the Queensryche European tour. We're coming at you from Paris. We're going to be meeting up with the band a little bit later on, but on these special editions of Headbangers Ball dedicated to our favourite bands, we do like to try and take you a little bit behind the scenes, and this is particularly relevant with Queensryche because they are bringing a very big staging and production to Europe this time around on Promised Land. And to find out more about it, I'm joined by Dan, who designed the whole show, and also by Howard, the Queensryche tour manager. So Dan, if we could start with you, tell us a little bit about the concept behind the whole Queensryche experience.
The whole experience was designed around the band's thesis of there's a story being told with the entire show.
Yeah.
which starts at the beginning of the show and follows through, which is the adventures of the band's hero continuing on from the Operation Mindcrime and from the operation of their last record.
Right.
And everything is designed around that story.
Good. And we can see these like big screens going on in the background here. Now I would imagine that for your part, actually syncing up all the pictures with what's happening on stage, how difficult is that?
It's a pretty complex operation. I think we got it pretty well in hand. It's so far so good. We've done about 8 shows and everything seems to be working very well.
Good. So it's not just a listening experience, it's actually a visual experience all tied in.
It's a multimedia presentation with the projection. It's a spectacular light show, and it's a remarkable sound experience as well.
Okay, well we'll ask Howard now, how many people are actually involved behind the scenes keeping this tour on the road?
Well, there's about 40 people involved out here, and they all come from all over the world, and we keep it on the road quite efficiently.
I mean, as we can see, there's a lot of equipment. How long does it actually take to set it all up and then take it all down again at the end of the night?
Well, actually, it's about an 8-hour, setup and about a 3-hour teardown.
Wow, wow. So it's pretty stressful being out on the road and working behind the scenes as well, isn't it? So are you just involved, Dan, in keeping it running on a daily basis? What's your role on the tour now that the actual film is all done?
Well, I come in with the guys who come in first, and we leave with the last of them at the end of the day. And we come in about 9 or 10 in the morning. The band play at about 7 or 8 at night, and actually it only takes us about 90 minutes to put the thing back out.
Right.
This is a pretty ambitious show for the places we're playing in Europe. It's very large.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is. So. We certainly appreciate that. And it is billed as an evening with Queensryche, isn't it, Howard? There's no support band, so you very much. I think it's going to be a very intense experience.
Well, it is, and it gives everyone a chance to see the band playing for over 2 hours, which is quite unusual.
And they cover a lot of ground from, like you said, Dan, all the material from across the board on the albums.
Yeah, they do the complete retrospective of everything that they have, and it's with a lot of the promised land involved.
Okay, and we've got this plexiglass screen here, which is in front of Scott's drum kit, and actually I know why this is here, but you better tell us the technical jargon.
Well, basically, so it doesn't it doesn't actually bleed. The sound doesn't bleed into the bands from their ear monitors, and it contains the drum sound for sound purposes. It gives us that overall live concert sound that everyone appreciates.
And it actually gives an extra 11 dB to the volume because this stops the drums feeding back.
11.23.
Well, we have to be accurate here. And were the band involved in actually the whole concept behind the film that we see in the background?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is their, it's an extension of their music, an extension of their artistic vision.
Good. All right. Well, thank you very much to both you guys for talking to us. It's fascinating what goes on behind the scenes, and I'd love to actually ask you how you got into being a production manager and a designer as well. I think that would be a whole nother conversation.
I made a big mistake a long time ago.
Well, you're certainly done a fantastic job with this film, and you're going to see some more of Queensryche in action right now. Thank you to Dan and Howard for sharing some insights. Fascinating stuff. I wish I had more time, but we've got to go into some live performance now, and after the break we'll be back for a final chat with Queensryche and bringing you the European tour dates. So let's